Julian Thorne stood on the steps of City Hall, clutching a velvet box. It was his 99th proposal to Victoria Sterling. Victoria didn't show up. Again, she simply answered his call, her voice cool and detached. "We can't get married right now, Julian. Someone's life is at stake. Just wait a little longer." Before Julian could utter a syllable, the line went dead. His friends, gathered around with cameras ready to capture the moment they signed the papers, lowered their lenses, confused. "You and Victoria have been inseparable for over a decade. It's the perfect romance. Why wouldn't she come today?" Julian forced a bitter smile, offering no explanation. In the past, their relationship had been the definition of perfection. Victoria Sterling had been the protagonist of Julian's entire life. In kindergarten, she had toddled over to press her candy into his palm. In elementary school, she biked halfway across the city just to walk through the school gates with him. In college, Victoria threw her first punch when someone confessed their love to him. Nose bleeding, she had awkwardly shoved a box of 1001 love letters she'd written over the years into his hands. Don't say yes to her, okay? After they officially got together, they were the city's inseparable power couple. When Victoria built her empire, she even named her company Viridian after the green in his eyes. Julian thought this was it. Happily ever after. Everything stopped the day Julian's obsessive fan appeared. After graduation, Julian had started a webcomic series chronicling his romance with Victoria, amassing a huge following. Oliver Reed was one of them. He was obsessed with the comic, and eventually, he fell in love with the heroine, Victoria. Oliver spent a fortune digging up information, eventually finding Julian's address. Upon seeing Victoria's icy, aristocratic beauty in person, his pursuit became unhinged. The first time, he stood in their gated community wearing a shirt with Victoria's cartoon likeness, screaming his love. Victoria had security throw him out. The second time, he rushed in her office and tried to force a kiss. She threw him out herself. The third time, he saw Julian at an author's gala. Pride opened Victoria's door and hid in her bed. Victoria called the police immediately. Julian had been confident. He and Victoria had 10 years of history. She would never fall for a shameless man like that. But when Julian released a bonus chapter in his comic announcing their upcoming wedding, Oliver posted a photo of his slashed wrist online. "Julian, a life is at stake. We have to wait." That was the first time Victoria abandoned Julian, running out the door. The second time marriage came up, Oliver swallowed sleeping pills. The third time, he threatened to jump off a building. This was the 99th time. Oliver hadn't done anything, yet Victoria still refused him. Julian gripped the marriage license application, laughing until tears streamed down his face. A life at stake. It was nothing more than a new person occupying her heart. It was a clumsy excuse, yet Julian had believed it time and time again. He wiped his face. What was he afraid of? He was the heir to the Thorne legacy. If Victoria didn't love him, plenty of others would. Julian grabbed a female friend from the group and stormed back into the clerk's office, slamming his ID on the counter. "Process it. I need to get married today." His friend, terrified, tried to talk him down. "Marriage isn't a game, Julian. You can't just grab someone and marry them." The blood roared in Julian's ears. He couldn't hear a thing. He, the dignified Julian Thorne, had humbled himself 99 times, and she refused. "I'm sorry, sir," the clerk said, looking at the computer. "You are already married. We cannot process this." The words hit Julian like a bucket of ice water. "Married? Why didn't I know?" The clerk explained patiently. "Records show you married a Jane Doe 1 month ago." Julian stumbled back. "Jane? Isn't that the servant at Oliver's house?" A month ago, Victoria suggested buying him a villa. Julian thought she was finally ready to settle down, so he happily handed over his documents for the paperwork. Ignoring his friend's confused stares, Julian grabbed his ID and drove straight to Victoria's headquarters, Sterling Corp. He needed answers, but the office was empty. The workaholic CEO was gone. Her assistant said she was at the hospital. When Julian arrived at the private hospital, he was blocked at the entrance. "I'm sorry, Ms. Sterling has booked the entire floor." From a distance, he saw Victoria walking in, carrying a man on her back. Security shoved Julian aside to clear the path. Oliver Reed, pale and fragile, leaned his head on Victoria's shoulder. "Am I too heavy, Vicky? Maybe you should let someone else carry me." "You're not heavy. I'm just afraid someone else might drop you or hurt you." The scene pierced Julian's heart like a dagger. His chest felt crushed under a boulder. Throughout his entire youth, those hands had held his, never letting go. When he was bullied while studying abroad, those hands shielded him. When they crashed their car on a road trip, those hands pushed him to safety first, begging the doctors to save him despite her own injuries. Now, those hands were tenderly carrying another man. Ms. Sterling really spoils her man. He only sprained his ankle, and she rented out the whole hospital. Of course, everyone knows how much she loves her husband. Who wouldn't want a girlfriend like that? Julian stood in the corner, listening to the nurse's gossip. He tugged at the corner of his mouth, but couldn't smile. The perfect woman had betrayed him without him even realizing it. Their romance was rotten to the core. Victoria didn't notice Julian in the shadows. She deposited Oliver in the VIP ward and walked out. A friend patted her shoulder. You didn't actually fall for Oliver, did you? You secretly married Julian off to a servant just to pacify that guy. You know Julian's temper. Victoria rubbed her temples. If I didn't agree to Oliver's demands, he really would have died. It's just a temporary grievance for Julian. Besides, he'll never know. What are you thinking, really? Victoria glanced back at the ward and smiled. I've been with Julian for over 10 years. He was my first love, my first everything. After so long, I don't even know if it's a love anymore. Until I saw Oliver's desperate devotion, I realized I could still feel that spark for someone else. Once I get Oliver settled and sent away, I'll get a fake certificate for Julian. He loves me. He can't leave me. Julian, standing in the shadows, felt like he had fallen into a glacial crevasse. Over 10 years. 3,000 days and nights. Dismissed with a light after so long. He stumbled out of the hospital, face wet with tears. You're wrong, Victoria. No one is inseparable from anyone. And I, Julian Thorne, will not allow you to treat me this way, just because I loved you. He pulled out his phone and had his assistant look up the servant's number. He remembered seeing the name on Oliver's blog. He'd picked up a mentally challenged woman as a maid. The photo was just a woman's back. So what if she was a servant? Whoever received his love would shine. Hello, this is Julian Thorne. We're legally married. Are you free to have a wedding? The background noise sounded like an airport boarding call. Sure, but my home's a bit far. I have to go back for a bit. Can you give me 10 days? The woman's voice was clear and bright, not at all like the fool Oliver described. It's a deal. In 10 days, come marry me. Julian hung up, wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, and walked away. Victoria, this time I don't want you. Julian organized a drinking session at a bar. Since being with Victoria, he rarely frequented such places. Sitting in the booth, the alcohol helped him calm down. He realized belatedly that 10 years of emotion had been wasted. Haven't seen you out in ages, and you're drinking alone. Forget the cheater, think about the good life. His friends, who had watched him and Victoria grow up, tacitly avoided mentioning her name. Someone played a love song. As the intro played, Julian's hand froze. Victoria used to sing to him all night. Julian loved to travel, but once, Victoria couldn't go due to a meeting. That night, an earthquake hit. Trapped under rubble, looking desperately at the moonlight, Julian thought it was the end. Victoria drove 500 miles through the night, digging at the rocks with her bare hands. Don't sleep, Julian. Stay with me. We have a lifetime to go. I'll sing for you. You always said I was tone deaf, but it'll keep you awake, right? Please, don't leave me. Hearing her voice crack with sobs, he had struggled to keep his eyes open. He felt a warm drop of liquid hit his face. It was the first time he saw the proud Victoria cry. The song ended. Julian swallowed his drink. Love is only true in the moment it is spoken. Drunk, Julian was driven home by a friend. As soon as the door opened, Victoria was there, face dark, staring at the stumbling Julian. You didn't reply all day just to go out drinking with women. She yanked Julian into her arms, declaring sovereignty over him in front of the female friend. The friend wanted to speak, but Julian shook his head. Thanks for the ride. You go on. I'll handle this. As soon as the friend left, Victoria gripped Julian's wrist, her eyes dark. You know I don't like you drinking with women. Did you do this just to punish me for this morning? Victoria peses tatere fin possessiveness. If anyone even looked at him too long, she would kiss him aggressively to mark her territory. But she had fallen for someone else. What did it matter what he did now? She didn't like him going out. Yet she didn't even know if she liked him anymore. When you married me off to his servant to humiliate me, did you consider if I liked that? Julian looked up, eyes red. Crash. The sound of something shattering in the bedroom drowned out his words. Victoria shoved Julian aside and sprinted to the bedroom. Oliver was sitting there, finger bleeding. Julian's eyes went cold. Why is he here? And why is he in my bed? He sprained his ankle, and his parents are traveling. I was worried about his safety. He sprained his ankle. He didn't break it. Julian stopped. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw the ceramic jar smashed into dust on the floor. He lost control. He walked toward Oliver. That was the last piece of pottery I made with my grandmother before she died. The only one. Oliver shrank back. I couldn't move well. I knocked it over by accident. I'm so sorry. I'll pay you for it, okay? Julian wanted to laugh. Accident? He kept that jar in the deepest part of the cabinet. Oliver had done it on purpose. Rage overtook him. He punched Oliver hard. How can you pay? Can you bring her back to life? Victoria yanked Julian back. It's just an object. Does it matter more than a living person? Since when are you so petty? The image of Julian being supported by another woman earlier still stung her. She dragged him into the bathroom, grabbed the shower wand, and blasted him with ice-cold water. You're drunk. You need to sober up and remember what you should and shouldn't do. The freezing water shocked Julian, forcing him back. Victoria seemed intent on punishing him, cornering him and spraying the high-pressure water directly into his face and chest. Only when he was soaked through did she throw the hose aside. You need to fix that young master temper of yours. The Sterling family won't accept a petty man. The door slammed shut, shattering his last shred of hope. In a trance, he remembered a time he was upset about not finding the right limited edition sneakers. She had knelt on one knee, letting him step on her multi-thousand-dollar skirt while she gently massaged his foot. People say I have a bad temper. Will you get tired of me one day? Others might not handle it, but I can. That way, you'll be with me forever. The memory was vivid. Julian, dripping wet, just wanted to laugh. Victoria, your forever turned out to be so short. He dried off and walked to the guest room. Passing the master bedroom, he saw Victoria tenderly bandaging Oliver's finger. Her usually cold, arrogant features were softened into a pool of spring water. Julian knew that looked too well. It was the way she used to look at him. That night, Julian dreamed of his wedding preparations. In the dream, while he joyfully picked a venue, Victoria was feeling guilty about Oliver standing in the rain. While he cooked a meal to share with her, Victoria was texting Oliver comfort. When he woke up from a nightmare asking if she could come home, she hugged Oliver tighter and texted back, busy. The love had cracked long ago. He just hadn't noticed. When he opened his eyes, Julian felt groggy. The hangover left him parched. He walked out to find Oliver sitting at the kitchen island, looking at him with amusement. The Reed family isn't exactly poor, though not on the level of the Thorns or Sterlings. You'd really debase yourself to be a homewrecker. Julian leaned against the counter, drinking water. The first time I read your comic, I was drawn to her. Your arrogant rich kid temper doesn't suit her. I'm the one who saved her. Hearing Oliver's delusional speech, Julian laughed. You fell in love with a character I created, and you call it saving her. Don't you think your brain is misfiring? Oliver gripped his fork. I fell in love with Victoria at first sight. She's even more beautiful than in the comic. To keep me from leaving, she even agreed to marry you off to my idiot servant. Do you know what that means? Julian glanced at the emotional Oliver and sneered. It means she's a terrible person. Want to know what you really are in her heart? Want me to help you test it? Oliver grabbed a kettle of boiling water and splashed it at Julian. It was sudden. Julian only managed to step back once before the water splashed over his leg. Intense, searing heat made him stumble. Blisters the size of coins instantly rose on his skin. Victoria walked in just in time to see Julian injured. Julian, I don't know what happened. He just poured hot water on himself. Oliver's eyes filled with tears, his body trembling. Julian was in too much pain to speak, but he watched the anxiety in Victoria's eyes cool into suspicion. You're used to playing the victim, aren't you? Are you going to say Oliver splashed you? You don't believe me. Check the cameras, Julian squeezed out. Victoria stared at him and scoffed. I'm not your father. I'm not that gullible. Julian's eyes widened. The pain in his heart eclipsed the burn on his leg. His father was a playboy who kept countless mistresses and practically drove his mother to her grave. To reclaim the Thorne family fortune, Julian had endured humiliation, pretending to obey his stepmother until his father fell ill, then seizing control. Victoria knew this was his deepest trauma, yet she used it as a knife to stab him. Lovers know exactly where to strike to cause the most pain. Julian dragged his injured leg forward and slapped Victoria across the face with all his strength. You disappoint me. Victoria took the slap without flinching. Feel better? Hit me again if you need to. But Oliver is your loyal fan. If something happens to him, it looks bad for you. I'm doing this for you. Suddenly, Oliver screamed. The hot water splashed my finger. It's bleeding again. Hearing his cry, Victoria rushed to help him. Next time, don't drag innocent people into this. I'm cleaning up your mess. I'll have Martha apply medicine for you. Julian sat on the floor, staring at her back, smiling bitterly. You're doing this for me. Or is it because you love him? Let's break up, Victoria, Julian whispered. Victoria took 2 steps, then looked back at Julian, slumped on the floor. What did you say? His voice was too quiet. She didn't catch it. Before Julian could repeat it, Oliver whined about the pain again. Victoria hesitated, then turned to the door. Whatever it is, say it when I get back. The pain in his leg forced him to crawl up and go to the hospital alone to bandage his burns. I can go to the hospital by myself. I can live by myself. I will never wait for you again. Julian developed a high fever from the cold shower and the infected burn. He lay in bed for a day, sweat soaking the sheets. Vaguely, he felt someone applying a cold towel to his forehead and feeding him water. Opening his eyes slowly, he saw Victoria, who breathed a sigh of relief. Can you stop being so stubborn? Can't you drop the young master act and show some weakness to me? What if I hadn't come back and you burned your brain out? Julian sat up with difficulty and threw the towel aside. He smiled at her. A fool and a fool make the best match, right? Victoria's heart skipped a beat. Did he know? No, impossible. I didn't verify the certificate with him. He can't know. She composed herself, assuming he was speaking out of anger. Oliver has severe anemia. Losing blood could kill him. We've lived together for over 10 years. Does a piece of paper matter that much? Once he slowly gives up, I'll give you a grand wedding. Wait for him to give up, or wait for you to get bored. Julian didn't voice his thoughts. He had no lingering affection for this woman. Victoria's phone rang. Oliver's sugary voice drifted out. Vicky, I had a nightmare. Can you come keep me company? She hurriedly lowered the volume, nervously explaining she had a meeting. Julian nodded flatly. Victoria looked at his pale face and lowered eyes, and her heart itched. Julian had always been vibrant, prickly. This fragile version of him stirred something in her. She swallowed and inexplicably said, If you ask me to stay, I'll stay with you. No need. He pulled the covers over his head and turned away. Victoria suppressed the strange feeling in her chest. He was still the same proud Julian and left without a burden. Julian curled up under the blanket, eyes red, body trembling. He bit his finger hard to keep from sobbing aloud. Only when his finger bled did he crawl out of bed. He couldn't wait a moment longer. He dialed Jane Doe's number. Sorry, the number you have dialed is switched off. Are you lying to me too? Everyone is lying to me. Fine, I don't want anything anymore. Julian stared coldly at the giant wedding photo in the living room. He grabbed a bottle of vintage wine and hurled it at the frame. The heavy impact brought it crashing down with a deafening boom. He grabbed scissors and stepped barefoot onto the broken glass, cutting his own image out of the canvas again and again. It wasn't enough. He turned and smashed every photo, every souvenir in the room. Only when the room was a ruin did his anger subside. Martha, clean this up. And these watches, these clothes, take them. They're yours. Sir, what are you doing? The housekeeper asked, terrified. Julian left without explaining, got into his car, and sped off. He didn't need anyone to save him. He would fly on his own. He walked into a mountaineering store. Every item the owner introduced, Julian swiped his card for. Years ago, seeing photos of snow-capped mountains had planted a seed in his heart. He had proposed trips many times, but Victoria always said wait. He wasn't waiting anymore. He was going alone. He threw the gear into his trunk, but before he could close it, his wrist was seized in a crushing grip. Did you hide Oliver? Victoria's voice trembled. Julian rarely saw her this panicked. Her eyes were rimmed with red. When Julian didn't answer, she squeezed harder. Just say you didn't, and I'll believe you. Looking at his wrist, throbbing with pain, Julian flung her off. I haven't seen him. Victoria turned to search, but caught sight of the items in Julian's trunk. Axe, rope, duct tape. She lost control, grabbing Julian by the jaw. I'll give you one last chance. Do you know how important he is to me? Give him back. Julian hadn't expected Victoria to get physical with him over Oliver. The Victoria who cried because he got a paper cut. The Victoria who carried him 3 miles on her back when he sprained his ankle. The Victoria who donated blood until she fainted after the earthquake. Those images merged with this woman digging her fingers into his face. How important is Oliver? You said I was the most important person to you. Julian's eyes reddened. Seeing his defiant gaze, Victoria snapped out of it and let go. Seeing the clear finger marks on his face, guilt washed over her. Her phone rang. Hello? You found him? I'm coming. Victoria got in her car and sped away without looking back. Julian touched his numb face and laughed. It doesn't matter. You two stay together. I don't want this woman anymore. Julian straightened his clothes and drove toward the airport. On the bridge crossing the river, 3 cars suddenly tailed him. The Porsche in the rear accelerated, swerving in front to force him to a stop. Julian got out, but before he could speak, Victoria stepped out of the Porsche, face grim. Where are you going? Her voice was colder than before. Does it matter to you? Not wanting to engage, Julian opened his door to leave, but Victoria ordered her men to shove him into her car. What is wrong with you? Let me out. Ignoring his protests, she floored the gas pedal straight to the hospital. You're a rich heir, but Oliver is a human being too, hiring men to assault him. How could you do that? If I hadn't arrived in time, Oliver's life would have been ruined. Victoria dragged Julian into the ward. Oliver lay in the hospital bed, face pale. The moment he saw Julian, he scrambled off the bed and knelt, bowing his head repeatedly. I was wrong, Mr. Thorne. It was really my mistake. Please don't hire people to humiliate me again. I can't show my face. Please, let me go. Julian's fingertips went cold listening to him. I didn't do. The kidnappers already confessed you hired them. Victoria cut him off. What else do you have to say? She helped Oliver up, wiping his tears gently. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I'll get justice for you. Julian watched Oliver, buried in Victoria's embrace, shoot him a smug look. Oliver had staged a kidnapping to frame him. Julian grabbed Oliver's hand. Since you were kidnapped, come to the police station with me. Let's see who has the guts to frame me. Oliver jumped, hiding behind Victoria. Victoria slapped Julian's hand away impatiently. Oliver isn't you. He doesn't have that kind of courage. He has a reputation to protect. Do you know how damaging this is for a boy? I just need you to apologize and promise never to target him again. Julian froze. He realized Victoria was referencing the time in college when he exposed a groper on the subway. He hadn't stayed silent. He filmed the man. He was defending his rights. Oliver wanted to save face, so Julian was shameless. He won't go because he's guilty. What does it have to do with me? You want Julian Thorne to apologize? See if he's worthy. Slap. Victoria slapped Julian hard across the face. Then reflect on yourself. Lock him in the morgue. Julian was shoved into the dimly lit cold storage room by bodyguards. In the distance, several covered bodies awaited transport. The freezing air drilled into his nose. Julian pounded on the door. Victoria. When you've reflected enough to admit your mistake, I'll let you out. He curled up in the corner, hugging himself desperately. The scene triggered a memory from childhood. His mother, critically ill, calling his father over and over. The sounds of partying on the other end made his mother cough up blood. She gripped 5-year-old Julian's hand. Always love yourself first, Julian. Never place your hope in another person. He hadn't understood then. He only knew her embrace grew colder. No matter how he shook her, she didn't respond. He had stayed with his mother's body for a day and a night. The look in her eyes before she died swirled in his mind. He shook violently, crawling toward the door. Open the door. Please, help me. Save my mother. He reverted to that 5-year-old child crying and screaming. Julian stayed in there all night before Victoria opened the door. Seeing his messy hair and lifeless eyes, her heart twinged. But thinking of how Julian tried to ruin Oliver out of jealousy, she hardened her heart. Do you know you were wrong? Julian lifted his eyes. His tears had dried up hours ago. I was wrong. I was wrong to treat love as my everything. I was wrong to have hope in you again and again. I was terribly wrong. Looking at Victoria's face, the woman he had loved for years. Victoria, are you satisfied? Hearing this, Victoria's heart tightened, and she pulled him into a hug. I know you were jealous. You care about me too much. That's why you did it. Just apologize to him, and this will be over. Julian, I did this for your reputation. I did everything for us. Julian stared blankly over her shoulder. His fingernails were torn from clawing at the door. Pathetic. I don't love you anymore, Victoria, he whispered. Victoria assumed he was speaking out of spite and hugged him tighter. We've been together for over a decade. Our names are entangled. We can't be separated. Don't say such things. Ms. Sterling. Bad news. Oliver is trying to kill himself. A doctor rushed in. Victoria dragged Julian to the ward without a second thought. Oliver's wrist was bandaged, blood seeping through. I know I'm nobody, and he's a high and mighty heir, but I have dignity. I can only prove my innocence with death. He tried to climb out the window. Victoria grabbed him. Julian knows he was wrong. He's here to apologize. Julian watched Victoria signal him frantically. He said flatly, I'm sorry. Can I go now? His face is so cold, it's scary. He still wants revenge. Oliver started crying again. Victoria comforted him softly. How do you want him to apologize? He should kneel and beg. He tried to ruin my purity and kill me. Victoria, how could I ever like someone like you? Julian started, but was shoved to the ground. Hearing his words, Victoria hesitated, but Oliver was trembling in her arms. If you do wrong, you admit it. Help Mr. Thorne. The bodyguards grabbed Julian's head and slammed it against the floor. Once, twice. The impact made him dizzy. Years ago, before his mother's grave, he had bowed his head like this. Victoria had knelt beside him. Julian, we bow to heaven and earth before your mother. She'll be happy. After an unknown number of impacts, his forehead split open, blood pooling on the floor. Only then was he released. He collapsed. Before losing consciousness, he saw Victoria run over frantically to hold him. When he opened his eyes again, Julian was back in hospital bed. You haven't eaten properly in days. Low blood sugar. You scare me to death. Victoria helped him sit up. He pushed her away. Seeing his cold expression, she touched his face. I neglected you these past few days. I'll take you on a trip to make it up to you, okay? Julian turned his head to avoid her hand. Go keep Oliver company. Aren't you a saint? If he doesn't see you, he might try to die again. Victoria pretended not to hear the sarcasm, gripping his hand. There are rumors online that you ignored a fan's life to force a marriage. I'm really doing this for you. I've arranged a trip to Silver Creek Canyon. We'll take some friendly photos to suppress the rumors. Julian scoffed. They had known each other too long. When Victoria lied, her eyes drifted. You're not doing this for me. Victoria tightened her grip. Seeing she was exposed, she confessed. People are saying Oliver is a homewrecker. I hope these photos can clarify things. Julian looked at Victoria, then at the bodyguards outside. She was determined to force him into compliance. There was no room for negotiation. Early the next morning, Victoria took Julian and Oliver to Silver Creek Canyon. She had people taking photos the entire way. Oliver smiled, linking arms with Julian. If Julian resisted, security would force him to pose. They hiked all the way to the Temple of Fate at the summit. Julian remembered coming here with Victoria. They had bought a pair of wooden love charms and hung them there. Watching Victoria and Oliver review the photos on the camera, Julian turned and walked to the old tree behind the temple. We will be together for a lifetime. This tree has stood for a century. It will witness our century. He didn't want that lifetime anymore. Julian searched and finally found the charm. Just as he yanked it down, a knife pressed against his lower back. Brother, long time no see. Julian recognized the voice instantly. Marcus Thorne, his father's eldest illegitimate son, the one who went to prison after failing to seize the family fortune. How'd he find him here? Brother's luck is too good. I'm not the only one who wants your life. Mister, Reed promised me $5 million if you die. Julian turned slowly. Facing Marcus, he spoke nervously. I have more than $5 million. I can give you. Before he could finish, Marcus covered his mouth and stabbed him in the abdomen. I know your tricks. Rather than deal with the wolf, I'll take the sure bet. Julian's eyes widened. Pain exploded in his gut, but he couldn't make a sound. He reached desperately toward Victoria, but saw her standing in the shadows, kissing Oliver. You can't beat me. Marcus pushed lightly, sending Julian over the railing. The valley behind Silver Creek was deep. He tumbled, hitting several trees before stopping. His lower leg snapped, bone exposed. He couldn't move. Blood seeped from his abdomen. Night was falling. The wild beasts of the valley would smell the blood and tear him apart. He struggled to pull out his phone. No signal. Blood loss triggered hallucinations. He looked up at the Temple of Fate. He seemed to see his younger self kneeling, wishing to be with Victoria forever. The sky went completely black. Julian closed his eyes, accepting his fate. The sound of a helicopter approached. The wind from the rotors woke him. A woman jumped down anxiously, helping him up. Look at you. I brought my dowry to marry you. Hearing the voice, Julian realized it was Jane Doe. Aren't you the heiress from the East Coast? The woman laughed. You recognized me. Let's get you out of here. He watched the last light extinguish at the temple on the mountain and twitched his lips. Do me a favor. Let Julian Thorne die here. Give me a new identity. Sitting in a helicopter, Julian wiped a tear from the corner of his eye. Victoria, this isn't over. Victoria climbed off Oliver, wiping sweat from her face. It was her first time doing it in the wild. In the heat of the moment, they had lost track of time. It was nearly dark. Once today's photos are out, no one will say you broke up a family. Happy now. Oliver dressed and leaned in. I just want to be with you forever. I did it to protect Mr. Thorne's reputation. Victoria suddenly remembered Julian was still in the back hills. She dressed and turned to find him. It was late. The temple lights were out. The massive platform was empty. She had told the bodyguards to watch him. Vicky, don't worry. We were loud earlier. I was afraid a servant might hear. Maybe he went home first. Panic rose in Victoria's chest. Did Julian see us? She searched frantically, then stepped on something. A wooden charm. The ink was faded, but she recognized her own handwriting. Victoria Sterling and Julian Thorne, together forever. She had hung it there with him years ago. He had torn it down. Panic made Victoria stumble. Oliver approached and saw the charm she was clutching like a lifeline. Jealousy flashed his eyes. You know how hostile he's been. Once the guards left, he surely went back on his own. Oliver's words soothed her slightly. Julian was proud. He had always protected himself with armor. If he didn't love her like his own life, he wouldn't have tolerated so much. Victoria drove back, flooring the gas. But when she pushed open the door, the house was empty. The silence was deafening. She searched every room tirelessly. Something felt wrong. The house felt different, emptier. Oliver followed her in. Seeing her pale face, he hugged her from behind. Don't worry so much. For the first time, she didn't respond to him. She broke free and kept searching. Mister, Thor didn't come back. Did he go out drinking with women again to make you mad? He won't stop until he drives me away. The anxiety bubbled up again. Is Julian trying to make me jealous again? Like last time, I need to stay here and wait for him. You shouldn't be here when he gets back. Oliver clenched his fist, hiding his expression. It doesn't matter. Everything is arranged. Marcus is a lunatic. He won't let Julian survive. He nodded obediently. Vicky, don't overwork yourself. If you miss me, come find me. Victoria put on her coat and opened an app to track Julian's favor bars. Before she could leave, the doorbell rang. It must be Julian. She ran to the door, but found 2 police officers. Can I help you? Victoria's heart hammered against her ribs. Dread peaked. The officer produced a screenshot from the scenic area surveillance. Someone reported a body in the valley matching the clothing of the man in this photo. What is your relationship to him? Victoria's brain buzzed. Her face went sheet white. Her hand trembled as she pointed at Julian in the photo. He's my boyfriend. You said he's dead? There must be a mistake. He just got angry and left early. Please come with us to identify the body. Victoria collapsed to the floor. She couldn't process it. Even when she was led into the morgue, she was in a daze. She stared at the white sheet for a long time without speaking. Wolves are common in the valley. The face is unrecognizable. Do you recognize these items? The coroner lifted the sheet. On the wrist was a ring engraved with thorn. Her body shook. She tried to step forward, but her legs gave out, and she fell to her knees. Julian, let's walk home together, okay? Julian, don't be with her. I like you. Julian, I love you. I will always love you. This man, who occupied half her life, how could he just be gone? Victoria wept uncontrollably. She seized that ice-cold hand with trembling fingers. I was wrong. Wake up and look at me, please. I really was wrong. I'm begging you, get up. Hit me, curse at me, just don't lie there. Get up. Let's go get married. You've been waiting for me to marry you, haven't you? She sat on the floor, wailing. Staff tried to help her up, but she shoved them away. I won't sign the cremation notice. He's not dead. How could a proud man like him die like this? Seeing her hysteria, the police brought Oliver in. Vicky, please don't be like this. Oliver reached for her, but she shoved him away with red eyes. I only want Julian. Get out. The police had to forcibly remove her. 3 whole days. Victoria didn't leave her bedroom. To take care of her, Oliver moved into the villa. Watching Victoria waste away, he felt a pang of jealousy. But it didn't matter. Julian was dead. The obstacle was gone. He would be part of the Sterling family soon enough. As soon as he moved in, Oliver ordered Martha to clean every room. The scent of a dead man is bad luck. Victoria heard the noise and walked out, face dark, watching Oliver command the servants. Who told you to touch those things? Vicky, it's too dusty. Changing things up will make you feel better. Slap. Victoria struck him before he finished. Every decoration here had been placed by her and Julian together. How dare this man? Did he think that because she played with him for a few days, he owned the place? Oliver had never seen Victoria like this. Her eyes were gloomy, her face tear-stained. I was just trying to make you happy. Victoria looked at Oliver's tears and felt only irritation. She grabbed his chin. If not for you, Julian wouldn't have gotten angry and left. If not for you, Julian wouldn't be dead. She shoved Oliver to the floor, staring coldly. While I'm still sane, put everything back, or I'll send you to join him. She took 2 steps, then looked back at the living room. She finally realized why it felt empty. The wedding photo was gone. All their photos were gone. Martha stood by, nervous. Mr. Thorne smashed them all before he left. And the gifts you gave him, he gave them to us. That was the day you took Mr. Reed to the hospital. Victoria clutched her chest, feeling suffocated. She hammered her heart with her fist. Julian used to treasure those things. He had dragged her to discuss wedding details right after the photo shoot. But she had been so consumed by the novelty of Oliver. She had rejected the man who loved her most, over and over. How much pain was he in to smash everything? Victoria grabbed Oliver by the hair. We are sinners. We need to atone. Oliver soon learned what she meant. Every night, Victoria came home drunk and forced his head to the floor in front of Julian's portrait. Every morning, the same ritual. He came to be the Sterling's son-in-law, not to worship a dead man. Oliver finally snapped, screaming at her. He's dead. He's been dead for 2 weeks. Why can't you look at me? We were in love. Victoria glanced at him and sneered. I only love him. Don't forget to kowtow to my Julian today. She walked out, ignoring the bodyguards, forcing Oliver down. The company had been paralyzed for half a month due to Victoria's depression. Her best friend couldn't watch anymore and handed her an invitation. Evelyn Vanderbilt, the heiress from the East Coast, is back. Rumor has it she's here to get engaged and take over the family business. Go see if you can make a connection. Julian is gone, but you have to pull yourself together. Save Iridian. After all, the name came from him. On the day of the gala, powerful families from all over gathered. The heiress who held the lifeline of the East Coast economy had been missing for a while. Now she was back, high profile and engaged. Everyone wanted her favor. Victoria stood in the hall, holding a wine glass, staring coldly at Oliver beside her. It's a formal event. I needed a partner. When we get back, don't forget the incense for Julian. Oliver clenched his fists. He was terrified of Victoria now. He whispered, okay. Looking at the hall, this heiress must love her partner dearly. Hand-woven carpets, rare flowers flown in. Victoria lowered her head in sorrow. Julian should have had a perfect engagement party like this with her. Cannons fired confetti. The doors opened slowly. Evelyn Vanderbilt gripped Julian Thorne's hand. Nervous? Julian smiled. Not at all. The show's just starting. Dressed in haute couture, he walked Evelyn into the banquet. Victoria watched from afar, squinting. Why is that silhouette so familiar? She pushed forward, squeezed by the crowd. Julian, tall and striking, looked at Evelyn and smiled. That smile froze Victoria in place. The person she dreamed of was standing right there alive. Beside her, Oliver looked like he'd seen a ghost. Isn't he dead? His face was eaten by wolves. But when Oliver saw the heiress, he saw a ghost even more terrifying. He slammed his hands over his mouth. That person, isn't that his servant, Jane Doe? Months ago, Oliver found a woman collapsed at his gate, injured. Thinking she might be a rich girl and a lucky break, he took her in. But when she woke up with amnesia and acted foolish, begging for food, he realized she was useless. He posted a photo online to fake a charitable persona, then planned to kick her out. But his butler secretly kept her. When he needed to force Victoria to marry Julian off, he created an ID for the fool. After the marriage, Oliver took out all his frustration with Julian on her. He beat her, starved her. Then she disappeared. He thought the pretty fool just ran away. How is she Evelyn Vanderbilt? Julian noticed Oliver's terror. He whispered in Evelyn's ear, Jane, your master is over there. Evelyn laughed and squeezed his fingers. The only person who dares talk to me like that is you. And my only master is you. Julian blushed and coughed. Victoria stared at the two of them. 10 years, she knew him. That was her Julian. Watching them flirt, she couldn't hold back. She rushed forward. Julian, why? If you're okay, why didn't you come find me? Julian said nothing. Evelyn gave a scornful laugh and signaled security. Bodyguards pinned Victoria to the floor. Touching my fiancé? Do you think I'm dead? Everyone knew the heiress was volatile. Seeing someone accost her fiancé, the crowd murmured. Mr. Thorne and Ms. Vanderbilt are a perfect match. Who is this trash? Viridian? Compared to the Vanderbilts? She's not worthy. Ms. Vanderbilt, kick her out. Evelyn took Julian's hand. I'm getting engaged today. I'm in a good mood. Insignificant people don't matter. She clapped her hands. People walked in carrying boxes. Sir, a gift from the miss. A $1.5 billion super yacht. Sir, a private island. Real estate. Stocks. Julian knew Evelyn was rich, but he frowned. You brought the whole Vanderbilt fortune? The lights dimmed. Flower petals rained from the ceiling. Evelyn knelt and took Julian's hand. I said I'd bring a dowry to marry you. Will you accept, Julian? Fireworks exploded outside the window, illuminating the room. Victoria broke free and hugged Julian. Please, Julian, don't say yes to her. Don't. Julian looked into Victoria's bloodshot eyes. He remembered her telling him the same thing years ago. Don't say yes to her. But he wasn't the boy moved by her words anymore. He pushed Victoria away coldly and laughed. I thought Ms. Sterling's lover died? No, wait. He wasn't really your lover. You rejected his proposal. Victoria choked back a sob, trembling as she reached for him. Julian, I was wrong. I really was. I thought you died. Without you, I realized I can't live. Julian shook off her hand. I am Julian. Julian Thorne is dead. Besides, aren't you living just fine? Victoria looked back at Oliver, desperate to explain. You're jealous, right? I don't love him. I only love you. Evelyn interrupted impatiently. Julian, the flies are buzzing. If my proposal gets ruined, I'll get angry. Julian turned to Evelyn and took her hand. I'm very satisfied with the dowry. Eat dough. But I have to warn you, I have a young master's temper. Be prepared. Evelyn slid a 10-carat diamond onto his finger and kissed it. My honor. Victoria tried to lunge forward again. Evelyn feigned distress. If not for his sake, you'd have vanished from this world already. Hold her down. Don't let her dirty my love's pants. The commotion was cut short by Evelyn's voice. Everyone, today is my engagement. No blood. My wedding is in a month. I hope you'll all do me the honor of attending. The party resumed. Victoria was released, ignored by everyone. She stared at Julian's retreating back. I know I messed up. Just give me one chance, okay? Please, don't leave me. I can't bear losing you again. Julian didn't look back. He got in the car with Evelyn. Oliver stood behind Victoria, biting his lip in hatred. Why? Julian was alive. And now he was climbing the Vanderbilt ladder. If he had taken care of that fool, would all this be his? Hate consumed him. Neither Evelyn nor Julian would let him off. He grabbed his coat, intending to sneak away. Victoria grabbed his wrist, staring at him grimly. You love me, don't you? Where are you going in such a hurry? Oliver shrank back from her red eyes. She was crazy before. Seeing Julian marry someone else broke her completely. Come back with me to atone. Oliver's eyes widened. Julian wasn't dead, yet she wanted him to kneel? He's not dead. Why should I kneel? What did I do wrong? Did I pour the water? Did I slap him? He changed his mind. He doesn't want you. Victoria exploded, grabbing Oliver's hair. Julian loves me. He wouldn't stop loving me. He's just angry. He's making me jealous. Like before, seeing the terror in Oliver's eyes, she let go. We just haven't atoned sincerely enough. Oliver backed away from her madness. Julian sat in Evelyn's car, looking out the window. He touched his abdomen gently. The scar still throbbed. When Evelyn picked him up that night, he hadn't expected Jane Doe to be the Vanderbilt heiress. It made sense Oliver didn't know her. The Reeds were small fry. Julian had studied the East Coast power players to fight his stepmother, so he knew Evelyn's face. If it were Jane, Julian would have been fine. But it was Evelyn. During his recovery, Evelyn was incredibly gentle. The rumors of her volatility seemed false. I was desperate that day calling you. Since Jane's ID was fake, you don't have to feel burdened. Julian gave her an out. Evelyn poured him water. No verden. I'm serious about marrying you. When you called, I was locked in a power struggle with the family. Being missing helped. Getting hurt let my uncles lower their guard. I went back, clean house, and came for you. Julian was surprised she explained so much. I'm just surprised you agreed so easily. Evelyn held his hand. I run the family. I need a partner. I know your story. You're the best candidate. You need a springboard for whatever you want to do. I qualify. The car braked, pulling Julian from his thoughts. Did seeing them upset you? Evelyn asked softly. Julian shook his head, rubbing his leg. The bone ache flared at night. Evelyn pulled his leg into her lap, massaging it gently. With my temper, ruining them would take minutes. No, that's too easy. I want them to lose everything, step by step. Evelyn nodded. Whatever my husband wants. Go ahead. I'll cover you. Lightning flashed, illuminating Julian's face. He would make them taste everything he had suffered. The villa was quiet. Victoria dragged Oliver into the bathroom. She dunked his head into the sink over and over. If I hear you badmouth Julian again, you know the consequences. Oliver cursed, then cried, begging her to stop. Only when he admitted his fault did she throw him aside. Oliver didn't understand. Why did everything change just because Julian returned? He had offended Julian and Evelyn. Leaving the Sterlings meant death. Even if Victoria was crazy, there was still room to maneuver. Vicky, he doesn't love you. Look at me. Remember what you said? You loved how I loved you recklessly. I'm the one who loves you. Victoria looked at the soaked, weeping Oliver. She remembered Julian, wet and red-eyed. But Julian stood tall. Victoria rubbed her temples, trying to purge the image of Julian's wedding. The novelty wore off. I think I was only obsessed with you because you looked like Julian when he was young. Leave. Don't come back. Oliver didn't dare leave. He grabbed scissors and held them to his neck. Don't make me leave, or I'll die. Victoria's temple throbbed. She had heard this threat too many times. Kill yourself. I'll call the police for you. She didn't stop him. She dialed. A text message lit up the phone screen. Mr. Reed, aren't you paying us? We took a beating for that fake kidnapping. Price went up. Mr. Reed, where's the 5 million? I pushed my dear brother off the cliff, as you asked. Oliver realized it was his phone. He tried to snatch it. Victoria smiled darkly. You're right. You can't leave, because I found out we have a lot of debts to settle. Oliver backed away from her terrifying expression. Vicky, I'll listen to you. I'll leave, okay? Too late. She locked him in a room and called her assistant. Check the hospital surveillance from Oliver's kidnapping. And Silver Creek. I want to know if Marcus Thorne was there. That text stung. She couldn't imagine Julian's despair that day. She sat in the living room all night, kicking at cigarette butts. The results arrived. Surveillance showed Oliver staging the scene, messing up his hair, then crying when she arrived. She gripped the phone. Was Marcus there? Yes, Ms. Sterling. He entered the park 30 minutes after you. Victoria's eyes went ice cold. Find him. Bring him to me. Marcus was waiting for his money when a sack was thrown over his head. After a bumpy ride, the hood was ripped off. Oliver was tied up next to him. A grim-faced woman stood opposite. Marcus sneered at Oliver. Trying to double-cross me? Staging a show? Give me my money. Victoria lit a cigarette, face obscured by smoke. Tell me what happened that day, and I'll give you 5 million. Oliver's mouth was taped shut. He shook his head frantically at Marcus. What else? I did what he said and pushed that bastard off. I did the work, pay me. Victoria stubbed out the cigarette and tossed the knife down. Do to him what you did to Julian, and I'll give you 10 million. Marcus's eyes lit up. You have that kind of cash? Don't lie to me. Victoria threw a check on the floor. Oliver struggled, cursing silently. Marcus grabbed the knife and stabbed Oliver in the stomach. Annoyed by the struggle, he slashed Oliver's face. The smell of blood filled the air. Victoria straightened her coat. I'll call the police. Assault and extortion. Marcus looked shocked. Victoria Scove. The money is yours. Spend it in prison. Holding the video evidence, Victoria drove to the Vanderbilt estate. Julian, come out. Please, I need to talk to you. Blocked by security, she tried to force her way in. Julian walked out, frowning. In just a few days, Victoria had transformed. The poised, arrogant CEO was gone. She looked like a maniac, hair wild, bloodstains on her clothes. She held up her phone, playing the video of Marcus stabbing Oliver. I was wrong. I was blinded by him. I sent that bastard to prison. I know it's my fault. Can you stop being mad at me? Let's go back to how we were. Let's get married. Julian looked at her crazed face coldly. Why do you think I'd want you? Why would I want someone who's dirty? Victoria opened her mouth, but no sound came. She had caused this. But giving up Julian? Impossible. He was standing right there, just like when he waited for her after school. But he wasn't smiling. He looked at her like a stranger. Victoria slowly knelt, pressing her head to the pavement. She choked back sobs. In kindergarten, I thought you were beautiful. I just wanted to hold your hand. In school, if anyone looked at you, I was jealous for days. We walked so far together. We were half of each other's lives. Julian, you are woven into my life. I can't give you up. I can't stop loving you. Julian watched her kneel, feeling detached. Yes, we were half of each other's lives. How'd we get here? You say you love me, yet you cheated on me while I proposed 99 times. You say you love me, but you treated our marriage as a joke to satisfy his mood. You say you love me, but you forced me to maintain his persona, pushing me into danger while you cheated. Julian stepped closer, tears streaming down his face. You don't love me. You're just used to having me. For 10 years, you didn't know what love was. You don't deserve to talk about love. He wiped his tears and smiled bitterly. Go home. Seeing you makes me sick. Listening to his accusations, Victoria cried harder. She reached out, desperate to touch him. Bodyguards blocked her. You really have no shame. My husband made it clear. Stop harassing him. Evelyn appeared behind Julian, hugging him. Seeing Julian held by someone else, Victoria's jealousy peaked. She screamed at Evelyn. Do you know what we've been through? He loved me for 10 years. You're just an opportunist. You think you have his heart? You're just a tool he's using to get revenge on me. Evelyn glanced at Victoria with disdain. I don't care about his past. Being his tool? My honor. Evelyn signaled the guards. I've been too nice lately. You forgot where you are. This isn't a place you can come and go as you please. She pulled Julian inside. Victoria was beaten by the guards. She curled up, looking toward the house. Julian never looked back. Bruised and bloody, Victoria returned to the home she shared with Julian. She sat on the sofa, staring at the empty wall where the wedding photo used to be. She opened her phone. The chat history ended on the day of his proposal. Further up, it was mostly Julian's voice notes. Vicky, let's get married. Victoria, I'm waiting at City Hall. She opened her favorites. Only one message. Their first night together. She had coaxed him to say something sweet, and she secretly recorded it. I love you. I really love you. Victoria listened to it dozens of times. She gripped the phone, collapsing to the floor. Her heart felt like it was being torn in half. Why'd it turn out like this? She clawed at her chest, gasping for air. The pain was unbearable. A metallic taste filled her mouth. She coughed up blood. She lay on the floor, staring at the ceiling. Vicky, I'm yours. Victoria, marry me or I'll marry someone else. Victoria, I don't love you anymore. Julian's cold face played on a loop. She grabbed her hair, rolling in agony. From that day on, Victoria was sick. Whenever she lay in bed, Julian's cold face haunted her. She couldn't sleep. She spent every day at the bar. Only drunk could she dream of the past. Julian smiling at her gently. The next table was loud with women laughing. You think that's sad? A month ago, I saw a man here crying his eyes out. Guess what? A woman asked, worse than me. His fiancée secretly married him off to her affair partner's servant. Brutal, right? Victoria gripped her bottle and hurled it at their table. Get out. The women screamed, called her crazy, and ran. So that's why he was drinking that day. He knew. And what did I do after he came back? Victoria downed more alcohol, signed a check, and stumbled out. The liquor burned her brain. Seeing a convenience store, she instinctively went to buy red bean paste. If you stay out late, bring me snacks as punishment. Yes, ma'am. My baby. Her hand on the door froze. She stepped back. No one needed her to bring snacks. No one was waiting. She pulled out her phone and dialed Julian. She didn't expect an answer, but it picked up. You're persistent, but he's tired. He's sleeping next to me. And stop sending trash over. The Vanderbilt estate isn't a recycling center. Victoria didn't speak. She threw the phone. To beg forgiveness, she had sent cars and watches daily. All returned. The thought of Julian sleeping beside Evelyn drove her mad. Julian walked out of his physical therapy session, sweating. My phone rang. Evelyn was wiping his leg with a towel. Just spam. I handled it. Julian guessed what happened and didn't push. I told her we're together. Are you upset? Julian paused, then smiled. We're partners. Why would I be upset? Evelyn relaxed. She stroked the scar on his leg. I know it's hard to trust again. I'm giving you everything. I'll prove it. I have only you. Forever. This is my promise. Julian woke up and went downstairs to find the living room piled with gifts. Evelyn had just signed some papers and waved. Why didn't you sleep in? Wanted to surprise you. There are already so many gifts. What is this? Evelyn handed him a file. Those are toys. Look at this. Julian opened the business plan. The plan targeted Victoria's Viridian directly. Bigger scale, bigger market. Since you want to take everything, you need pieces on the board. Julian, I said you can ask for anything. Julian gripped the plan. Evie, I never asked why you're so good to me. This goes beyond a partnership. Evelyn looked at Julian's handsome face. She remembered the first time she saw him. The Vanderbilt clan was huge. She was just another heir being groomed. Bullied for her looks. Evelyn had been dark and calculating since childhood, watching fools make mistakes. Until she saw Julian at a banquet, following his stepmother, submissive but with the eyes of a wolf. Interesting. Someone like me. After being hurt by the family, Evelyn hid at Oliver's house, feigning madness. When Oliver tried to force the marriage, her first thought was, glad it's him. At the airport, facing a life-or-death struggle for the family, she still agreed to come back and marry him. Because it was him, it was worth it. Seeing his silence, Julian waved his hand. What are you thinking? Evelyn smiled. Maybe love at first sight. Julian had experienced Victoria's love, and Evelyn was dangerous. But it didn't matter. Mutual benefit. Like his mother said, love isn't everything. Evelyn knew he didn't believe her yet. No truce. She had a lifetime. From that day, Julian used the company to strangle Viridian. The tactics he learned navigating his own family were effective. Se player se vanden Victoria. Julian stood in his office. Victoria's friend and VP burst in past security. Julian, do you have to be this cruel? Viridian will collapse. Julian sipped his wine, back turned. What is a VP doing here? The friend clenched her fists. I can't find Victoria. She's ruined because of your wedding. For the sake of the past, can you show mercy? Julian turned, looking at her with disdain. Just business. What does it have to do with me? Business? Destroying yourself to hurt the enemy is business. The friend lost it. Julian's eyes were cold. I'm that kind of person. I get what I want, whatever the cost. The friend stared at him. You're crazy. You and Victoria are both crazy. Victoria was dragged off the bar sofa by her friend. How long will you drink? If he doesn't want you, he doesn't want you. Are you going to die? Victoria laughed miserably. Yes, I want to die. Without him, it's a living death. The friend shoved her back. You're in a living death now? Did I warn you about Oliver? Who are you performing this deep love for now? Viridian is ruined. He's reaching for the Sterling family assets now. Victoria knew. She knew he was revenging himself. She didn't want to stop him. If his hate meant he still cared, maybe that was enough. Go beg him. Or you're the sinner who destroyed the family. Victoria stumbled. I'll go. The next day, Victoria arrived at Julian's company. Security let her in, as if expected. Julian was meeting with shareholders poached from her company. I'll wait outside. No outsiders here. Speak. Most were her old employees. Victoria clenched her hands. Can you spare the Sterling family? Her voice was low. Julian crossed his legs, amused. Too quiet, Ms. Sterling. Louder. Victoria closed her eyes. I beg you. The family legacy can't end with me. If you want revenge, take my life. Compared to the family, what is your rotten life worth to me? Victoria trembled. Julian, how can you let the family go? Julian stood and walked to her. Begging requires attitude. Kowtow and apologize. That shows sincerity. Don't worry. I won't force you if you don't want to. He was mocking her past behavior. Her former subordinates watched. Victoria hesitative. Julian turned to leave. She grabbed his hand. I'll kneel. Victoria knelt behind Julian, forehead hitting the cold floor. 1. I was wrong. I shouldn't have been unfaithful. 10. I was wrong. I shouldn't have sought novelty. 99. Julian, I shouldn't have been so confident that you wouldn't leave. People took photos. The flash and click were torture. Blood seeped from her forehead. Julian looked down at her coldly. He thought he would feel joy, seeing the proud woman humbled. But he felt nothing but desolation. No matter how miserable she was, the wasted years wouldn't return. Did he still love her? Maybe he was just unwilling to let go of the beautiful memories. Julian threw down an agreement. Sign it and leave. It was a transfer of ownership for Viridian. The memory of naming it stung. Viridian, you are my dream. I will build a vessel to carry you. Victoria signed with a shaking hand. Julian looked at the contract. Between us, it was just a mirror, a dream. I took it for real, but I don't dream anymore. I am Julian, just myself. Holding the contract, Julian announced Viridian's bankruptcy. Like their broken love, it would never be restored. On Memorial Day, Julian brought flowers to his mother's grave. He leaned against the stone. Mom, Father died in the nursing home. I buried him far away. He won't bother you. Don't worry about me. I didn't listen to you before. I took a wrong turn, but I fixed it. Light rain began to fall. An umbrella appeared over him. Julian turned to see Victoria in a black dress. He scowled. You have no right to be here. Victoria placed flowers down. We bowed to heaven and earth here, Julian. Julian stood up to leave. It was over. He wanted no connection. He wouldn't be trapped in hate. Victoria grabbed him. Julian, let me finish. He didn't move. Julian, my life was too smooth. Heir to the family. First love lasting 10 years. I never knew failure. But I failed. Julian frowned. Victoria stumbled and knelt. Kneeling gets boring. He frowned deeper. Victoria laughed, looking up at him. Julian, I love you. The thought of living without you makes me want to die. So, don't forget me, okay? Julian turned sharply. A knife was buried in Victoria's abdomen. The rain washed the blood into pale pink streams. He stepped back in shock, bumping into another embrace. Evelyn held the umbrella, hugging Julian tight. Using self-harm to force him isn't smart. That's not love. It's moral blackmail. She signaled guards to take Victoria to the hospital. Julian was still shaken. Evelyn draped her coat over him. Still dazed? I'll get jealous. Seeing her wet hair, Julian realized she had been there a while. You just watched? Evelyn took his arm, leading him to the car. Julian, I don't want to bind you. If revenge didn't clear your heart, my interference would only make you waver. I won't force you. You are free. Julian looked at Evelyn standing in the rain. His heart softened. He tugged Evelyn's hand. You said I was your master. Is that true? Evelyn panicked slightly. She feared being a second too late. What? Julian pulled her in for a kiss. Since then, Evelyn relaxed. They prepared for the wedding. Custom lace for the dress. I need to approve the flowers. Outdoor wedding. Check the weather. Watching Julian return to his commanding self, Evelyn smiled. Whatever the groom wants. Julian lay on Evelyn's lap, staring at her. Evie, getting married is tiring. I want to quit. Evelyn tensed. Invitations are out. Too late to back out. Or, I'll live stream a manhunt. Julian's phone rang. His editor. Julian, check the internet. You're trending #1. Blacklist. The comic was finished. He opened his profile. Comments were full of hate. #famous artist Julian fake persona. #first love propaganda lies. #artist Julian abandoned dying father. Evelyn saw the headlines. Edited videos. Half-truths. Don't worry. I'll suppress it. Julian put on his coat. I'll handle this. As he stepped out, paint splashed over him. I believe in love because of you. It's all fake. Selling a persona for money. Scum. He let his father die. He's delusional. Fanatics rushed him. Evelyn shielded him, taking a glass bottle to the back. Arrest them all. She cleaned him up in the bathroom. I won't let these stay up. Julian held her hand. Some things I have to do myself. The next day, Julian released a 5,000-word statement and a presentation. Detailed records of his father's infidelity and abuse, and evidence of his 10 years with Victoria, her affair with Oliver, and the injury she caused him. The internet exploded. The reality is crazier than the comic. School mix. Stay away from our boy. His father deserved it. The discussion was dying down until Victoria released a video from the hospital. I wronged him first. The comic is true, but he has a new life. Let the story stay in the pages. Stop the rumors, or the Sterlings will sue. The internet shifted. Your story ended, but your words still love him. Netizens found Oliver was the source of the rumors. He was roasted. Then, the leak. The groom at the Vanderbilt wedding is Julian. Super life upgrade. Dumped by childhood sweetheart. Marries the queen. This is the real protagonist energy. At the wedding, Julian checked comments, teasing Evelyn. You leaked this. Evelyn, in her gown, didn't blink. Why ship expired goods? My husband has a real owner. She took his arm and entered the venue. Victoria watched from afar. She placed a gift on the table. Happy wedding, Julian. She turned to leave, but saw a masked man with a bottle. Oliver? She grabbed his hand. Pain made him drop it. Concentrated acid hissed on the floor. His face was scarred, eyes hateful. Why stop me? Look at me. This is his fault. You hate him too. Let's ruin the wedding. He'll be yours. Victoria pinned him down. You're crazy. No one ruins Julian's wedding. Vows were being exchanged. Edo. Victoria's heart ached. Distracted, she didn't see Oliver pull a knife. He stabbed her in the stomach. Then you die too. Go to hell with that BTCH. Victoria felt cold. Blood poured out. The ceremony was ending. She couldn't let there be a flaw. She struggled up and tackled Oliver. Seeing his plan fail, Oliver went berserk, stabbing her repeatedly. Let go. I'll kill them. Guards subdued him. Victoria was riddled with wounds. Evelyn and Julian arrived. Oliver was muttering, insane. Take him away. He'll never see daylight. Victoria heard Evelyn's voice and collapsed. She looked at Julian and raised a hand. Julian, can you forgive me? Blood gushed from her mouth. Julian looked away, eyes stinging. He blinked back tears. Victoria, we're even. Victoria smiled. She saw herself at the school gate. Julian running toward her in his uniform. School's out. I'll take you home. Victoria closed her eyes. Julian clenched his fists. One tear fell. Evelyn hugged him, covering his eyes. Don't look. She went without pain. Julian nodded. School's out, Vicky. But we were always on different paths. You took a detour for me. I lingered for you. Maybe we should never have met. In the next life, let's not meet again. Story complete, story complete.